Hello, everybody. We are on Facebook Live, getting ready to go live here on the radio in about 30 seconds.
From AM 1680, this is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. And now, here's your host, Lance Cardoza.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the show. It's Business Leaders Live every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., and I'm trying to get used to this social media thing. So
right.
We're right now putting out the live show all over social media. So if you go to @TalkRadio1680 KGED, you can see the show in the studio and see how it's ran and how it's done here every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. on Talk Radio 1680 KGED. Business Leaders Live. My guest this week is a friend of mine, and I'm very excited about it because I have a personal investment in this gentleman, not only in a business standpoint, but just when he first started to come and work with me doing some work with a professional wrestling company, Lucha Extreme, a television show, and I had met him, was introduced to me by a wrestler by the name of J.R. Cardoza, and he said, this guy I think has it. And in the business, in professional wrestling, and those of you that don't know, I work in that business with a television show, Lucha Extreme, every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on KAIL, My Central Valley. And we've had that almost a decade now, running that 1-hour television show every week. Yeah. And you hear Brian Reid's voice here. And Brian Reid, anybody that's watched that show or caught it on television, he was a monster. And if you look at Facebook Live, you still are. Right. And a monster in a good way. You're a big dude.
Yep.
And you came over as the character Brian Tannen to Lucha Extreme. Welcome to the show, Brian Reid.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
So you came from Sacramento at the time, and your family, you grew up in the Sacramento area.
Yes.
And you worked in professional wrestling, and now chasing the dream of acting.
That's right. You know, it's funny. Professional wrestling and acting are essentially the same thing. They're in the same universe, but different planets.
Yeah.
And the way I explain, when I tell people I was a professional wrestler and now I'm an actor, they go, oh, professional wrestling, it's so, and then they scoff at it. And I go, listen. Do you like Star Wars?
Yeah.
And they go, oh yeah, of course. I go, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
It's no different than Broadway. It's the same thing.
And it's a live show.
Exactly.
With stunt work.
Absolutely.
And so if you've ever seen a circus, if you've ever seen any live performance or stuntman in a movie, you're doing a live performance.
Absolutely.
It's Broadway.
And it's one take, live audience, pressure's on. But that's what makes it fun. That's the thrilling aspect of it. It's such a challenge, but it's so much fun. And to me, when I was in high school, I was a big football player, and I wanted to go play college football. I wanted to play in the NFL. I had dreams and everything. And then as soon as I graduated, well, I guess I'll tell you my story of how I got in if we have time. We'll just start the story.
We have a full hour here, Brian. We got a lot to talk about. But
so,
you wanted to naturally. I mean, you're not going to be a tennis player. You know,
no. Tennis is really hard. By the way,
it's hard.
Extremely hard.
And a guy our size, and I say I'm small compared to you, but tennis is tough, and you got to be really agile and athletic. And,
oh my goodness, yeah.
So, but growing up, football is like you're labeled. You're the guy. Yep. You've got to be the front line.
I was a really good high school player. I was 2-time first team All League for the Metro League Conference in Sacramento. My senior year, I was offensive MVP. I played in 2 All-Star games. Offensive MVP, by the way, as an offensive lineman. Thank you very much. So, nod to all my fellow linemen out there. And then I played in 2 All-Star games. So I was really good at what I did. I wasn't like an ESPN 100, U.S. Army All-American. But I was good. I was a good, solid high school player. And I was going to go to a junior college in Northern California called Sierra College, which is up in Rockland. And I was going to go there and I was going to play. And then I eventually wanted to transfer to wherever and then go get drafted. So I had my whole thing laid out. And, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. But during my senior year in high school, I went to high school with who's a good friend of mine today. He's actually wrestling now in the independent circuit. His father was Rikishi, WWE Hall of Famer. And so he
very famous superstar with the WWE.
Absolutely.
Remember he had the dance and he would smash you in the corner with his massive Samoan weight.
Yeah. And so him and I were really good friends, and we still talk every once in a while. And he would just kind of he was, oh man, yeah, remember one time I went to WrestleMania with my dad and everything. It just kind of started to grow on me, and I'd always liked professional wrestling, but I never gave it any serious thought. And so after I graduated, I talked to my friend Joseph again. Joseph Fatu is his name, and he really kind of just sold it on me. I was sold on it. I was like, you know what? I don't know how I feel about football anymore, because once you get to the college level, it's a business. It's no longer, I mean, it's still fun, but it's no longer like high school innocent.
Very competitive for every spot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh yeah. And I was there at Sierra College over the summer, and I was starting, and I was doing good. And then I was just like, you know what? I don't know if I can do football anymore. I want to do professional wrestling. To me, it was the best of both worlds, because in high school I was a good student. I was, C average, B average, but I was more focused on being the class clown.
And your teachers probably loved you.
Oh yeah,
because you kept them entertained.
Yeah. That's right.
It was always entertaining. I was sort of the same way too.
It was a show
not
every day.
Really good with grades, but and it wasn't like and I still do this today. It's funny. I get the characters riled up, and I get them to do the performance for the teacher.
Yep.
They got in trouble, and I was in the background going, yes. So today, as a promoter and a director and the guy leading the show.
You're still doing it.
It's just, I am always interested in other people's stories, and I love to tell their stories and talk about, and I talk about this with young people in business, and that's why I like bringing you on. You're finding your way in business and where you're going to be going with this, and it's a business.
It is, and I'm glad you touched on that, because I knew that getting into wrestling, it was the wrestling business, and I learning from you, I learned how to navigate it in a more professional manner, unlike a lot of guys that I know, and so that gave me my advantage. And then WWE, when you get to WWE, it's such a different. I mean, coming from the independent circuit, going to NXT, it's like.
And when you're talking about these acronyms, because not everybody knows listening here on Talk Radio 1680 KGED, but WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment, one of the longest episodic running television program.
That's right, yeah.
In the history of television. And Vince McMahon and the McMahon family has created and it's on the stock market, the WWE. It's a very big company, and it's a television company. And it's not only a television company, it's a marketing company.
Yep.
Because all their aspects of that brand, WWE, and everything else that they have is very big. So to get to the WWE as a professional wrestler is a big deal.
It is.
It's a big deal. And a lot of guys chase that dream, and some of them are incredible workers still today in the independent scene for many years, and either haven't been noticed, haven't got out there enough, or don't have the it factor is what we call. And that's when you came to me with Lucha Extreme. When you first stepped in, you cut promos, what they call it, on the camera. Yep. Not giving you too much, but just throw you in front of I like to call it baptism by fire. Throw you in front of the camera. Give you a couple things to talk on, 3 points. See how you do. And give me about a minute and see what you come up with. And you were intimidating. And the character that you had was the INS, the Immigration Naturalization Service, is what we ended up branding you with a big chest plate and the with bulletproof vest, INS on there. It was just, and you had the dog tag or the badge around your neck, and very intimidating. But knowing you as a person, you have a funny streak side, that class clown side. So I always knew that you're multifaceted. A big company like WWE get a hold of you, could do something really, really big. And so you start to make your way through that after football. You get into wrestling, and how does that work? So the independent scene, you're wrestling here and there, and you're starting to get your feet wet. How was that start and getting trained and doing that?
So when I decided to leave football and get into professional wrestling, I really didn't. There was a school down in Southern California that I was looking at, and I was like, oh, yeah, they're good. I want to go there. Then I was like, oh, wait, it's down in L.A. Like, I just kind of didn't think it through. Didn't make sense, I didn't really think it through. So I remember one day I Google searched professional wrestling schools, Sacramento. 2 came up. Now, at the time, I didn't know the difference between, like, backyard and legitimate, like, professional wrestling.
Just somebody owns a ring, and they're going to train you in their garage or something like that. Or just in their backyard. So, as luck would have it, I chose the right one. I chose Supreme Pro Wrestling, Supreme Professional Wrestling in Sacramento. They have a school. They run shows once a month, every third Sunday of the month. And they've been doing it for, I think 20 years or more.
This coming April, like next year in April, is going to be their 20th anniversary. Like
20th anniversary. So was it Gabe Jimenez at that time training?
No, it was Timothy, the British Messiah, Timothy Thatcher, C.J. Kurz, and Sir Samurai were the 3 trainers there.
Oh, wow.
And so I Google searched and I chose them by luck, and then I told them when I was like, yeah, I saw you guys, and then the other one, the other one, you don't want to do that one.
Yeah, don't do that.
So I was like, okay, good, I chose the right one.
You got the right spot.
So I showed up, and on my second day, like the first day I watched, and I stood in the back, I didn't participate, and I just wanted to get a feel for it, because I did not know what to expect. Yeah. I was so used to like football, and it's so organized, and military, like get up, line up, get out of there.
Yeah, you thought it was a drive, it was very casual.
It was very casual, and so I watched the first day, and then the second day I went, and then we got in the ring, and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I made the right choice.
You made the right choice.
Yeah,
so you get trained Sacramento and you get into the independent scene.
Yep.
We're going to take a short break. You're listening to Business Leaders Live with Lance Cardoza. I'm here with Brian Reid, professional wrestler, now moving into acting. We'll talk more when we come back right here on Talk Radio 1680 KGED. Don't go away. I got to try to figure out how to share this thing. Trying.
Oh, you didn't care? I shared it. Let's see.
Valley group, but it's
okay.
Right on. Yeah, that's right. Still on Facebook. Yeah. I tried to share it, but I can't. Hey, how? Have we got a problem?
No, just
for everybody on Facebook Live.
Just keep that one on.
There's the guy with the real good hairdo back here. Right there. That's Jose. Jose, make sure everything works.
Let's see.
Like that hair, Jose. Yeah. Hey, how do I share? Because it's asking me all these groups. But normally I would just hit share. Yeah. Only thing I'm thinking, wait a minute. Let me see where I'm logged in.
Yeah.
I might be logged into the business page. No, I'm in mine. Yeah. So then it's just asking for groups instead of just sharing.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Because usually I could just hit share and throw it out there.
I got it shared.
You got it shared?
Yeah.
You got any comments there?
Lori's watching or liked it and shared it.
Oh, cool.
And I got a couple people to see.
A couple people starting watching.
Yeah. Cool. A girl I used to work with at. Hi, Graciela. I used to work at Costco Northridge with her. I hope you're doing good. I miss you.
Are these the stream over here like locally? That's coming in. That was a different time. Okay, don't watch that. Page, yeah. Okay.
Trying to pull it up.
No problem. No, I just blast it out. Yeah. There we go. Cool. Just so I can get it going. Awesome.
Yeah, it shared.
Yeah, now it's
nice. God, time flies.
So this little video was Star Wars.
I saw that.
Yeah,
that was great.
This is Ralph in the I just commented. 1 minute. Sorry, guys. We're just chatting and reminiscing here. But the Facebook Live, Talk Radio 1680, KGED. Tune in on the radio. We'll be going live here in just a moment, about 45 seconds out. So we'll talk about the next step and going around and getting recognized and known, and then getting your face out there.
Yep.
And then I think when you came to Lucha, it's the first time you experienced TV.
I'll tell that story of how I have a good story of how I ended up at Lucha Extreme. So I'd like to share it.
All right, cool. What are we doing?
Money in the bank.
8 seconds.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back, everybody, to Talk Radio 1680 KGED. Lance Cardoza here. You can catch all my past episodes of Business Leaders Live by going to lancecardoza.com. That's LanceCardoza, and you can catch the past episodes. In this episode, in studio, good friend of mine, Brian Reid, former professional wrestler, going into acting, and we got some exciting news to announce later in this program about his acting career and what he's been doing. And and reached out back to me. I helped you get through the business of professional wrestling through my company, Lucha Extreme. And before the break, we were talking about breaking into the business, getting trained, getting properly trained. And a lot of times, too, is you think you're properly trained, and then you start seeing professionals that have been out there for many years.
Yes.
And, for a stint here with Lucha Extreme, I had a very talented wrestler, Manny Fernandez, that was with us, and a great trainer, wrestled with a lot of dark issues in his life.
Yep.
Is no longer with us, but really great talent in the business.
Yeah.
And you find those nuggets of talent in this business, and unfortunately some that have fallen to the wayside because of they were on top.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to deal with it and manage it, or got into life and they couldn't navigate their way.
Yep.
And with any business, not just wrestling business, but even professional athletes, and blew all their money and not sure where they're going with it. So you didn't fall victim to that. It fell short for you for other reasons with WWE, and we'll talk about that. But talk about where it came from, Sacramento to the point of Lucha Extreme.
So it took me 10 months to get trained enough to get in the ring and have my match. You never stop training. If you're any real professional wrestler and actor knows, you never stop training. You never stop learning.
Anything you do.
Anything you do.
You're always learning.
So 10 months to get ring ready enough to have my first match. Yeah. So I debuted January 8th, 2012. Then I started to do shows all over Northern California. I did some in the Bay Area, Modesto, Stockton, a few in Reno. I tried to do as many shows as I could, just every weekend, get out there and have fun and just get better and the only way you're going to get better is if you keep doing shows and you keep training. So for me, the more opportunity I could get, the better I could get. So how I ended up on Lucha Extreme, me and JR Cardoza were really tight right off the bat. I'm still really cool with him, but we would go to all the same shows together, and he really helped me out.
He was a big monster. If you're looking up JR Cardoza, and he still is, and still dominating out there and doing his thing.
Still doing good, still doing really good. So he brought me to a show, we went to a show. We were booked on a show in Fresno. I think it was Pile Driver Pro Wrestling, I think. Does that ring a bell?
I think there was Little Company at one time.
Little Company.
Yeah. David's marking out in there. He was friends with some of
he
those
knows
guys.
what I'm talking about.
He hung out in that same backyard.
So we went to that show, like 4 people in the audience, maybe 5, honestly.
Oh no. David, you were there?
It was.
Yes, he's shaking
David
his
was
head.
one of
Yes,
them.
he was there.
One of the 5 people.
I feel bad for you.
So it was it was just kind of a.
But you got to start. You got to get out there.
Yeah. And so I don't remember if you were there or somebody was there. JR said someone from Lucha Extreme is there, and he wants JR to come to the next show and check it out. So I can't. It was you or Tony or someone. Someone was there from Lucha Extreme. That's why JR.
Yeah. I think it was Tony.
It was probably Tony.
A partner of mine, Tony Calangi, owns the Fresno Suit Outlet here in Fresno.
Yeah.
And a big fan of the business, and he's just an awesome guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think he talked to JR.
Talked to JR, told JR to come. JR, being such a great person and a good brother to me, said, "Hey, why don't you come along? Just come with me, rub some elbows. We'll see what
happens."
To me, it was great. All right. I didn't expect anything other than to just shake some hands and watch.
Yeah.
Me and JR show up to our first day at Lucha Extreme. We're not even there 5 minutes. Manny Fernandez comes up to us and goes, "Where are you guys from?" Sacramento.
I was going to say, be careful. We're on the radio.
Yeah. Right. Where are you guys from? Sacramento. And he just stops. He's like, "Okay, you two, INS.
Alrighty, he put a match together, right? We didn't even know if you were trained, and he was already.
It was 10. We were 10 seconds in the building. We had just got picked up. We are now the biggest heel tag team in the company
of all time. Immediately when you walked in, and I'll tell you what happened. It was in the studios, and we had filmed in a studio, and he right away said, "Who's the big kid?" Right away. He knew who JR was. Mm-hmm. He said, "Who's the big kid?" And I said, "I have no idea." I said, "Tony saw him, thought we should look at him," and he was like, Tony. Tony knows nothing about the business right away. You know how man he was." Right. And I said, "I know, but he knows good acting, and he knows he's a fan of it. So I want to take a look at this kid." And he said, "He's a big kid. You know how to work?" I said, "I don't know." So then he walks up to you guys and goes, puts a match. You guys are going to wrestle right away. And I'm like, we don't even know if this guy can wrestle yet or work, on TV. So your TV experience was that. And I remember you cut the promo that day.
I remember that.
I put you against the wall over by the ring, and I said, okay, you're going to do a 1 minute promo and see how you do, and then do one with, and I believe it was Byron Rush.
Yes.
And it was a huge fan of Lucha Extreme, and Byron was doing some stuff with us, and was on television, and a great guy. Byron, if you're listening, hi, my friend. Haven't talked to you in a long time, but Byron interviewed you, and Byron even came up to me too and goes, "Oh, he's gonna be good." I'm like, "Yeah, he is."
Yep.
I had big dreams for you right away.
Yeah.
And so you start with our company on television. So every Saturday you're on TV.
I was thrown in there.
You guys,
you're on TV now.
Come
Go
to
ahead.
Fresno, you'd get recognized. I know JR one time had the little kid come up to him. In a grocery store. I don't know if you were with him, and said, "Hey, you look like that guy from Lucha Extreme, JR Kratos."
I heard
with his
the story.
mom. You heard that?
Yeah.
And the little kid goes. He goes, "Oh yeah, buddy." I'm. He started to tell him I'm that guy. You want an autograph? And he goes, "Oh, but JR Kratos is much bigger than you." Like right away. And he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, man, I'm huge."
I heard that story. That was
He is
hilarious.
a big guy, but in the business of wrestling, as you know, when you made it to the big dance, is what we call it with WWE before you came to acting, is you got up in Orlando, Florida. You got to look, and so the next step of Lucha Extreme, you're doing that. You're on television. You're learning how to work TV. You're getting recognized. You're getting out there. And then I talked with Canyon with WWE. Was just brought in by Triple H, as people know, Paul. And they were looking for new talent. And they were looking for the it factor. And they're always looking for the it factor. And in that system in Orlando, you get a tryout at one of the Monday Night Raws, SmackDowns when they come through. And talk to people that are listening. Don't know how that works. How does that work for a young talent? You come on as an extra. And how does that work? You go backstage and tell us the story.
When you get on their radar, whenever Monday Night Raw and SmackDown comes to the area, so for me, I was living in Sacramento, so whenever it was usually Raw that would come to Sacramento, and then SmackDown was in San Jose or like Fresno or something. Rarely was it the other way around.
They go to the bigger market with Raw. Usually.
So when you're on their radar, each town they go to, they have guys on like a list, like, oh, these 10 people live in
that
this.
They're watching you.
And so they bring them in. They bring them in for, it's called extra talent, but what it really is, it's like a 2-day interview process, really, because you're backstage. You get to eat catering. I mean, you're one of the wrestlers, but you aren't. So you got to be careful about how you walk. How you
represent yourself.
Exactly.
They're watching you like a hawk.
Oh yeah, the eyes are on you all day, and then they'll have you do promos. They'll talk to you. They'll go, "Oh, where are you from? How long you been wrestling for?"
And a promo is getting in front of the camera and performing. So they say cutting a promo on your opponent. It's talking about who you're facing and what you're talking about. That's your promo, putting over the match to build up the hype for the show.
That's right. So I did. I think I did like one promo on my first day, my first extra talent tryout, and it was horrible. It was terrible. I didn't know it.
I was there, wasn't that for that one?
I think you were there.
Yeah, and it was a building stage.
Yeah. And it was. I really didn't know what to expect, so I wasn't really prepared, and it was horrible. And then Matt Stryker, who was with the company at the time, he was former talent. Then he did some interview stuff with them. He's not with WWE anymore, but he just was like, oh, you got to work on this and this, and just blah, blah. So next time, I did a total of 3 of those, 3 extra talent interviews / tryouts. Each time I got much better because I knew what to expect. I knew what to bring. How
old were you at the time?
I was 20. No, I was 21. 21 at the time.
Which that's why you were a gold mine to them.
Right.
You were perfect age, and they like real young because you can be brought up the right way and trained properly.
Yeah. And so on my 3rd extra talent tryout, one of the referees came up to me and said, this is the day I kind of knew. I was like, okay, this is for real. Like they're really into me. He comes up to me. It was like me and a group of guys, and we were standing by the ring. We had just done a few tryout matches. Comes up to me and goes, hey, you're going to Florida, right? And he was like, talking to me? Like, what?
Yeah, he leaked it.
Yeah, you're going to Florida. And I go, I don't know. And he goes, okay, never mind.
Never mind. Yeah, you didn't
So
hear
I didn't.
that.
I was like,
Don't give that name.
didn't he? Kind of just shrugged it off, like, oh, I probably thought it was someone else.
Yeah, and maybe he wanted to plant a seed to see how you're going to act.
See how it was going to react to it.
It could have been a setup.
Yep.
Trust me, it
Yep.
could have been a setup. Could have been they were working you.
They're always
to
doing,
see what you're going to do.
And they're always doing something.
Yeah.
They're always up to something in that company.
And they've learned from many years of building talent that they know how the psyche works of a young mind that is driven and wants to be in this business, that they're going to do these tests.
Right.
And businesses do it too, because they need to know who they're dealing with.
Yep.
You're investing in this person to carry your product. So you need to know how they operate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so later that day, this was, like I told you this story, this was it. This is when I knew. I was like, oh, okay, this is really happening.
This is it.
I was standing, we were all done for the day, and like a lot of the other superstars were going home or going to the next town rather. And I was standing in the hallway, and it was me and 8 other extra talent guys, and like I think a few girls too. Vince McMahon comes walking down the hall.
Company,
right,
the chairman of the board.
Right, comes walking down the hallway with his entourage, or his producers. And I'm not joking when I say this. He stops, turns, and looks at me. Looks me up and down, shakes my hand, smiles, and keeps walking. Didn't do that to anyone else.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my.
Yeah.
What? What?
Yes.
So that was.
It was a message.
It was.
You better bring it.
At that moment, I was like,
we're watching.
Okay, this is serious. And then a month later, I got the email from Canyon saying, we would like you to come out to Orlando for the 3-day tryout. You know,
the rest was history.
The rest was history.
You're out there in Florida, and you're going to the next phase of your life.
That's right.
With the business.
Yep.
When we come back with Business Leaders Live, I'm here with Brian Reid talking about his journey in professional wrestling, formerly professional wrestler, now going into acting, and acting at a young age. You got to experience all that.
Yeah.
And then coming back. We'll be right back with more Business Leaders Live. Ooh, we're still on Facebook Live. Hello, everybody. I don't see any of the messages, so over there we'll be able to respond to them and say hi to everybody. I know people chime in from all over the country, Brian.
Yeah.
Jason LaChance.
I know. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing, brother? Jason LaChance.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah. Jason, I hope you're doing well, brother. If you watch us for a little bit, we'll show you how to do the radio gig. Now you're trying to figure it out.
You're trying to learn the radio business, Jason.
You've been doing it just for a little bit. Jason is, I think it's still called The Bear.
I think so.
Yeah, so rock DJ, and in the business of radio, probably wears many hats.
Yeah.
Does everything there with the radio station there. And I think it's 92.5.
I think so, because he had me on once.
Bear, yeah, had you on there. And Jason LaChance is an awesome dude, and out of Merced, miss you, brother, and hope you're doing well with you and your family and your kids. And he's a cool dude.
Yep.
So, but you meet a lot of great people too in this business.
Oh, so many.
Yeah, and
so
you
many.
still stay in contact with a lot of the superstars.
Yep.
That are there today on Raw and, and SmackDown.
Yeah.
And
I still talk to Nia Jax, the bit. She's a megastar, megastar, big timer. Talk to her all the time. We actually talked the other week for like an hour and a half on the phone.
And she's part of the Samoan dynasty.
She is part of the. She's the Rock's cousin.
Family,
so she's right up in there, and
she's done it on her own too. That's what's amazing about her.
She really has. She had the tryout. She got the tryout when I was there, and she just nailed it. Had a great tryout. Had a very unique look. She's a very unique individual. Great promo. Great at cutting promos, and she had a pretty quick trajectory.
Yeah,
to Raw.
Once she got in,
once she debuted on NXT, that was kind of like, it's like boom, 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 boom. Debut on.
And you
Raw.
never know how fast that's going to come.
Right.
You always got to be ready.
Some people it takes a good friend of mine, Tucker Knight, who was there when I was there. We both got signed at the same time. It was me, Chad Gable, and Tucker Knight were signed at the same time. And Chad Gable got called up after I was released. Chad Gable got called up shortly after. Tucker Knight was in NXT for I think 5.5 years or so. That's a long time. Doesn't seem like much. That's a very long time in developmental.
Because you're in development training.
Yeah.
For about 15 seconds, we're going to be coming back here.
Yeah. So they're doing good now. All the which is great.
Very cool. We're about 5 seconds away from going back on Talk Radio 1680 KGED. We're here in the San Joaquin Valley in Fresno.
Giving you the inside story of business leaders in the Valley and beyond. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back, everybody, here to Business Leaders Live. Every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., I bring you business leaders throughout the Valley and abroad. And I had the great pleasure, in the top of the show, we talked about it, is being introduced to this young gentleman, Brian Reid. And Brian, what, 27 now?
27.
27. You come to the studios where Lucha Extreme was filming a television show that I own every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on KAIL, My Central Valley. Lucha Extreme, you've seen it at Taco Truck Throwdown, Lucha de Mayo at Tioga Sequoia Brewing Company, at the Big Fresno Fair with my good buddy out there, John Alkire, and what they're doing at the Fresno Fair. And those three different organizations recognize what entertainment that business brings in Lucha Extreme and professional wrestling entertainment and that flair of Lucha Libre, the masks and a lot of fun.
Yep.
So you get in the business, you go to the mega company, the company of all companies
right.
for professional wrestling and television. And Vince always talks about, the owner of WWE, their business is putting smiles on faces. That's what we do. We put smiles on faces and we entertain people. And with going to Orlando, so you talked about working in that business and getting to Orlando.
Yep.
A different world, different ball game.
Oh, yeah.
Then what you wanted in football and wrestling, that sort of mixed the lines with coaches and drilling down, and you got it.
That was it right there. It really was.
It.
They really do what they can to operate like an NFL team. There are some things, obviously, just huge differences they just can't do with NFL and professional, but it was very similar and it was very professional, and I was happy with it. And it was when I got there, Bill DeMott was the head coach. Tough but fair, great coach. Really enjoyed being able to train under him, and it was Bill DeMott, Billy Gunn, Nick Dinsmore, who played Eugene on Monday Night Raw, for those who remember.
And a lot of these guys are former athletes like yourself, and then found their way into the business of sports entertainment and working in that company, WWE.
Right.
And so in that business, there was a mix of everybody, from models to volleyball players, professional volleyball players, and we're just learning from the ground up in the Performance Center, which at that time, probably 100?
No,
plus,
it wasn't even that. It was about 80.
About 80 people.
Guys and girls combined, 80 total.
So, and now probably over 100
now,
in the facility.
I know now that it's well over 100.
30,000 square foot facility, 8 different rings?
It was 7. At the time, there were 7. There's probably, I know they own the building right next to it, so they probably have a few rings in there. And
then we're going to grow the business.
I know that's going to grow.
So you worked on their sort of independent scene of the wrestling company, which is on their platform, WWE Network, and it's called NXT. So some of those people never got an opportunity to work TV that are in the system. So that's their way of learning how to operate on television, from your entrance to everything you do in the ring and your promos. And you got to work with one of my favorites, and the late great Dusty Rhodes. The American Dream, if you will.
Right.
And a lot of people in professional wrestling over the years, or clicked on television, knew the guy that looked like a truck driver, but he can dance and jiggle.
Son of a plumber.
Son of a plumber.
That's
and
his thing.
it's just a great talent in the business. And you got to work with him on promos, really cutting your promos and dialing in your promos, your acting ability.
Yeah, so when I got there, I kind of did the typical, this Sunday, I'm gonna see you this Sunday, we're gonna tell you.
Sunday.
Those days are, as fun as that is, and as much as I like doing that, those days are over in the World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. So you really had to dial it back and turn it up, but not too much.
Find your inner character and make it believable.
Exactly. So Dusty was really, really great, and he wasn't just. He really told us to don't just watch old wrestling promos, but really watch actors. He was a big Marlon Brando guy. A lot of old time actors that you would see on Turner Classic Movies, which is one of my favorite channels. We'll talk about that later. But so he was really wanted you to watch a lot of other things other than wrestling as far as promos go. And so that really helped. And he was really all about when the camera's on, slow down, take your time, look right in the camera. He really taught me how to speak and act comfortably in front of a camera. which was great. Like, you gave me the opportunity to do it, and I learned a lot from you, of course, but Dusty really, like, shined me up.
Honed it in, polished
it. It was like,
it.
all right, here, that's good, but now do
yeah.
this. So,
awesome. So you got that experience, and you got to be there with them. Then the time came where you were cut short.
Yep.
You're being looked at. You're gonna possibly one of these days appear on the big show, Raw or SmackDown, the big dream, a little taste of seeing what WrestleMania was about. And like all major athletes, things happen.
Yep.
And there's a Y in the road, and then you have to take a different direction. What happened?
So there was a guy there, still a good friend of mine today. He's actually a police officer in Orlando now. His name is Dustin. They put us together. Well, because we were good friends, we cut a promo together. And you've seen the promo.
Yes.
And it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like, you can hear Dusty laughing in the background. All the boys and the girls were just laughing.
It was hilarious.
It was that promo was like, oh, okay. We found who we are, and these two guys are funny. So Dusty put us on the for next week. It was the when the big producers come down from Raw and check out talent. So we were on that. And then we just got, I don't know how business is funny sometimes. We just got pulled from it, and then shortly after, I don't know how else to say it.
They got you.
I was released. Yeah,
they released you after that.
I had got injured about a month prior. I got a concussion, so I would imagine that had something to do with it.
Had to play with it. Yeah.
I was when they pulled me in the office. It was really nice that they did this, actually, because other times when they release people, they pull you in. It's just you and the performance center manager. It's not the coach.
Yeah, there's the door.
And he goes, okay, sometimes companies have to make decisions. Okay, bye. Get out now.
Yeah,
You're done.
Yeah.
Go home. So, but for me, they pulled me in. I thought this was really nice. The head coach was sitting in there, Matt Bloom at the time. Bill DeMott had already resigned, and it was Matt Bloom and the performance center manager. And Matt said, he goes, I want you to know you're the only one I'm sitting in on. I'm not doing this for anybody else. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And so I knew what was happening. I was upset, but I appreciated that. He goes, you've done nothing wrong, and everybody here loves you, and you're doing great. He says, just sometimes companies are forced to make just, really crappy decisions.
Yeah,
and we
have
no
that you got to live with.
Yeah, and so this is just one of those times.
Yeah.
And so I understood from a business standpoint, because I understood, like I understood that it was a business, and I get it. I was bummed, and I was for a few days I was unhappy.
You're bitter about it. Anybody being let go from something.
Yeah. That you'd worked so hard to get there, and it's like just cut short, and like, what? I didn't do anything wrong. So it was
a lot of times. Sometimes a financial decision. There's so many plays that they can make in what they're doing to grow, and they have to make hard decisions to get to that next point where they're trying to be.
Yep.
And you might have just fell into that crevice. Again, also, too, we've talked about this. It could have been a message to see, what do you do after that?
Right.
What happens next? What do you really want and desire? Are you going to come back stronger, harder, faster?
Yeah.
Or are you going to take a different turn in the road? And you chose, at a point, a different turn in the road.
Yep.
You knew your ability to act was great, and you were diverse, and you could go both ends of the spectrum, which a lot of guys can't in this business.
And that's one thing that really bothered me is when I got released, I was like, there are so many guys here who are not as good as me.
I'm the best actor in this room.
Like,
you were cutting a promo.
I can name 5 that you need to release right now. So,
and you were upset, and it fires you up, and that's what happened. It put that fire in your belly to say, hey, I'm good. I'm good at something that I know I'm really good at, and your physical comedy is great. And we filmed a scene one time. It was you and your brother, J.R. Kratos, the INS. You guys turned against each other, and it was up in a bowling alley called Strikes in Sacramento, Elk Grove.
It was
area.
Elk Grove, yeah.
And I filmed it, and it was you guys having your little war inside the bowling alley, and we just did it on the fly, just flying with it. And I knew the moment, and the spot when you took a shot with a pizza pan.
It was like,
in the kitchen.
It's like a 14-inch
pizza. We didn't even tell the kitchen help. Everybody in the kitchen were like, what's going on?
What is this?
So it was
hilarious.
great on TV.
Yeah.
And when you took the shot and the look on your face as you went down, I thought the comedy side of your physical comedy is really good.
Yep.
So in what we're talking about, you getting into acting, you start to do some plays when you come back. You
Yeah.
go to Sacramento, you're doing some plays, and then you find yourself in Los Angeles.
Yep.
So you get down there and you say, I'm going to be the next big Hollywood star.
Just like everyone else that does that.
And you're down there going, oh no, I'm going to need to wait tables to make this happen.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
so after I got released, I was bitter for a bit, but then I had decided to step away from wrestling because I got the injury. I don't really want to risk anything else.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed. I'm not, as much as I love WWE and I support my friends there, I'm not the biggest fan of where they're headed. But that's okay. They're doing their thing. Again, no disrespect. It's just not my thing. But the fire for acting and performing was still there. So I came back to Sacramento and I was like, okay, I got to do something. So I went to the comedy spot, the Sacramento comedy spot, started doing improv and sketch comedy. Improv is really hard, by the way, for anybody who's wondering. It's a lot of fun, though, but it's extremely difficult. So I did that, and then I kind of wanted more. I wanted, it's like, okay, this is fun, but I want to get on stage in theater.
Yeah.
So
you were starving for what you had.
Yeah,
You wanted that crowd approval.
Yep.
Right away. Yeah.
And
Feedback.
so I was okay at the comedy spot. I wasn't great, but I wasn't bad. I was okay, but I wanted something different. I wanted something more. So I enrolled in Folsom Lake College up in Folsom, California, which is near Sacramento, and they have an outstanding theater program. I think it's the #1 theater program in the United States as far as community college goes, and I put money on that because nobody has the production value and the type of money that, it's outstanding.
Wow.
Obviously,
State.
Folsom Lake College. It's
Folsom
a community
Lake,
college,
okay.
yeah, in Folsom, California.
Awesome.
And their theater program, I think, is second to none as far as community college goes. Obviously, you couldn't put it up with like USC or anything, but it was outstanding.
For a community college,
and
that's
it was
incredible.
incredible,
Yeah.
incredible. The budget they had and the resources and the facility they had. So I did that. And my first play was Cyrano. It was an old French play. It was a comedy / love story. And then I got recruited to do a professional play, low budget, in Sacramento called Fool for Love, which is a great play. It's one scene, so it's an hour long, so it's all the way through, which wasn't really what I used to, what I was used to. So that was tough. It was a great challenge, but I did it and I did good. And then after that, I did Hair, the musical. Never thought I would ever do a musical. It was, what's funny? It was
That's what caught my attention. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, right. So
I see online, like, what's going on?
Right, with my hippie clothes and everything.
Yeah.
It was either Hair or Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. I know who Shakespeare is. I know about Shakespeare. But I read the script for Julius Caesar and was like, oh, I am not ready for this.
Yeah.
Shakespeare is a whole different beast.
Yes.
You really have to, So
Yeah.
I did Hair. Hair was such a great, wonderful, magical experience. I know it sounds funny talking to the guy who used to play the INS.
Yeah, you were the wrestler, the monster.
And then I went from, now.
But that's how diverse you
Exactly,
are in your abilities, and I saw that.
Yep. And so Hair was great. And then after that, I was like, okay, I work for Costco, which is a wonderful company, and I can transfer down to Los Angeles. And I did that. And
then we talked, and then you had this idea.
Well, yeah.
You had this idea.
We'll
we
tell
come
you all
back,
about it. Yep.
We're going to talk about it, and it's a mini-series. It's going to be filmed here shortly, and we're going to talk about the details on it. Brian Reid in studio, former wrestler, now actor, and we got big news to announce right here on Business Leaders Live. We'll be right back in just a moment. You're listening to Talk Radio 1680 KGED. Hello, Facebook. So again, we can't get to your comments because I
actually
see them.
can get comments.
Or you see them?
Jason says, missed you guys too. I'm just here watching and learning.
Jason.
A couple of friends of mine are watching. And
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, he's a cool cat.
AJ Oliver, my man, what's up? And Joey, how are you?
Oh, Oliver.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, big stuff. Big stuff's happening from Brian. As all you guys, anybody that follows Brian and knows his ability and knows that he's a great guy. He was brought up well. Met your mom and dad when you performed at Strikes, actually. It was up in Sacramento. And they came to the show, and that was when you were already signed and you were going to WWE. And you could tell they had this sense of, they didn't want you to get into wrestling. They didn't want that, but they felt like, wow, you've helped steer him in the right way. And I think that he's on to something big. And you were and you are still doing it. That you didn't let it beat you down, which a lot of people will. It'll let you beat you down, and you get stuck in that rut. But sometimes those are just a moment in your life that a door closes for another one just to open. There's a reason.
One door
take the
closes,
life.
seven doors open. That's I heard that a while ago, and I was like, oh, that's true. It was funny when I told them I wanted to do, because they were all behind me with the NFL dreams and everything and what I wanted to do. But then I was like, I want to be a professional wrestler now. They were like, oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get, because they thought it was. I used to not be allowed to watch wrestling when I was a kid.
Yeah, I do.
Because of the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed because it was so best era in professional wrestling, in my opinion.
Yes.
Wasn't allowed to watch it when I was a kid, and they thought it was just inappropriate and trashy.
It was one of the toughest in the business for companies like Vince because he was competing with Ted Turner.
Yep.
And Turner was destined to destroy him.
Yep.
Shut it down.
The Monday
and
Night
take his
Wars.
business.
Yeah.
So that's when Vince had to just roll the dice, and pull out every stop.
Yeah.
To just try to win over everybody and push every envelope. And it was tough for them with corporate sponsors, just like your parents.
Yep.
They were deterred like crazy. Like, this guy, Vince, he's the chairman of the board. He's crazy. And they were like, well, yeah, but he's crazy like a fox.
Yeah.
He's very sly, and he knows what he's doing. But at the same time, that era was chaos.
Oh, yeah.
They did everything they could to just try to get
pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, from Vince pulling his pants down to Kiss My You Know What Club. I mean, they did it all on TV. And it was
I
out
watch
of
it
control.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watch it now. I was like, oh, that was great entertainment.
Yeah. As a young guy, you were probably like totally entertained, but I could see your mom like, what?
She was not into it. Yeah.
No.
So when I told them I wanted to do that, they were just like, you don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
like,
what they remember about the business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we would, as I started training, we'd watch Raw and SmackDown. Like, oh, okay. And so I started to educate them more as I was educating myself, and they really grew to appreciate it. And then when I started doing tryouts and I got signed, that's when they were like, oh, all right.
You got serious.
Okay,
got
go
serious.
for it,
I remember they were lit up at the show. They were very excited seeing you sign autographs, seeing all of our fans getting sort of say bye to you as you were moving on.
Yep.
So it was very cool.
Yep.
And they're going to be all excited to hear about what you're going to be doing here when we talk about it on the radio, because I think when we met, because I kept thinking too, do I have time to take on this challenge with this? But I believe in it. And I think with the right team behind it, and I think up in Sacramento we can find a lot of support and a lot of help, and we're going to be filming some of this in Sacramento, and I believe in you. We're going to do this.
Yeah, thank you.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back, everybody, to Business Leaders Live. Again, every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., make sure you join me here on Talk Radio 1680. I want to thank David, our producer, and also our other producer over here, Gustavo, on the board running the show. Thank you every week making us look good, or just trying to. We're on Facebook Live if you go to Talk Radio 1680 KGED. And thank you for staying with us on the radio. In studio, I have Brian Reid, good friend of mine. Worked with my company, Lucha Extreme, into the professional wrestling, and now a big announcement in acting. So you wet your feet with acting, and all of a sudden you're being thrusted right into it. That one of the things we were talking about is screen time. You need to get screen time. You need to be able to just act on camera and be able to put something together. And then I found out you have a writing ability.
Yeah.
And your comedy is great. So you start writing this character for yourself.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, if I can get some screen test shots and maybe some small little webisodes, and I start going, oh, this is a good show.
Yeah.
Let's start designing this a little tighter and a little better and really do something big with it. So you come up with your character and then tell everybody about it right here on Business Leaders Live.
So the character's name is Cannonball. As far as the name of the show, we're still kind of working on that. Yeah. But the character's name is Cannonball, and the best way, I can't reveal too much, but the best way I can describe it to people is, if you remember the Ernest movies, played by Jim Varney, like Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Goes to School, it's going to be very similar to that in the sense of just kind of very silly, I don't want to say over the top, but just very silly and like physical comedy.
Yeah.
This guy's just a big-hearted kid, but he's just a not very smart.
Yes. And it's not that it's not very smart too sometimes. And I think what's exciting about this character is when I read the scripts and the screenplay, I see you performing it.
Right.
So I physically can see you doing all this stuff and knowing your ability to do it. And I laugh just reading the screen play. So when it translates to film, it's going to be really good. what I like about it is what you like about going back to what Ernest did and some of the cleaner comedies.
Yep.
And a lot of the stuff that we see online today for our youth and our kids and mom and what mom's trying to protect her kids from and seeing, there's not a lot of, other than Disney and what Disney's doing. They push the envelope like crazy here lately.
They do, a little bit, as of late.
So you want to be able to put together a nice, clean comedy.
Right.
If you grew up on Three Stooges, you grew up on the Ernest shows.
Laurel and Hardy, too.
Chris Farley.
Rest in peace. I love Chris Farley.
Yeah, and the physical comedy that he could bring from SNL and when he did his films and from Black Sheep to Tommy Boy, and everybody remembers that. I see that same thing going on with this character, Cannonball.
Yep.
So we've been working on that, and we'll, like you said, a name will be coming out soon for the show. Things are being planned to be filmed up in the Sacramento area and the Central Valley area.
Right.
A good friend of mine, Alan Autry, actor, former mayor of the fifth largest city in the state here in Fresno. And if you remember Alan, he was Bubba from In the Heat of the Night.
Yep.
In the movie Popeye. If you look at the credits, it was Carlos Brown. That's his real name.
Yep.
He was the guy that Popeye with the big arm, Robin Williams, beats up in the bar, and you see his head going like crazy. That's what he was known for. No, he's a lot more than that. Grace Under Fire, Southern Comfort, a lot of movies that Alan was in, and a former quarterback for Green Bay.
Right,
a lot of
played in the
people don't know
NFL
that.
for 3 years,
Big
3
man.
seasons.
Big man.
Big guy, yeah.
Working on films and a new film that he's going to be announcing and launching here soon, and Brian hopes to work on that film or be in that film here in the near future as well. So you moved to the Central Valley.
So moved from LA, realized, everyone moves to LA, but to me, I've always been a big fan of kind of doing things a little bit different. Realized that, okay, my time in LA is not right now. I need to go elsewhere. So I reached out to you because I knew you were you're the man.
And I think I motivated you to start doing this.
You did. You really did.
Start doing it and getting aggressive about it.
Right.
And you could put the work in.
Right. Because you really, when I came to you, I was just a kid with a dream. Yeah. And now
I had to open your eyes to a lot of stuff.
And
I'm
you know
like,
what? It's funny.
Okay.
I just didn't. Our talk about the budget. It's such a funny story. It was a great learning experience, though. Yeah. You're like, oh well, have we thought about a budget yet? I go, I'll pay for the clothes and the little bicycle. And you're like, no, I'm not. That was
you can find a little bicycle around the corner.
That was my first introduction into, okay, this is.
It just got real.
You're in the big leagues now, kid.
Yeah.
Like now we're talking business.
Yeah.
Because what I want to do with this show is I really want to I want the families to sit down and just enjoy it and laugh and not have things pushed on them or nothing. I don't want the parents to go, ooh, we're uncomfortable watching that in front of our kid. I just want families to sit down, just like when they would watch Ernest and Laurel and Hardy and old stuff like that, just to laugh. Just laugh. Just enjoy it. Watch my physical and comedy and pratfalls and me making a fool of myself. Just laugh and enjoy yourself. That's it.
There's a teaser. I'll give you the great teaser. It's a great story with someone else in the movie that's a neighbor, and it's a lot of fun. And it's not Bubba. It's not Alan Autry. But I'm sure he'll advise us and help us along the way. And you'll be working on some films with him and some other people and sort of cutting your teeth on how to be better and better. And reach out to Brian if you want to help and be involved and you're up in the Sacramento area. We can use hands, and we've got a big task in front of us to be doing that. We'll be filming occasionally on just weekends. And so it'll be a lot of fun. And so the character Cannonball, you'll be hearing more and more about that. And there will be a website and social and everything you're putting together on that. And it's a lot of work. You realize that it's a business of its own. And, you're putting it together, and you're doing it. You're doing it, and I'm going to help you along the way, and we're going to get this thing off the ground and done.
I'm eternally grateful for all of your help because you not only have you're taking this on and you see the light like I do, but I every day I learned so much about the business aspect. Because one thing to have a dream and yes, this is what I want to do, but it's a whole other thing when you look at the business side. You're like, okay, this is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So learning that firsthand from you has been such a great experience, and I really, I want this to go to the big leagues. I feel like it can, and I feel like it'd be good for the families and the children and the parents across the United States and the world, really, to just have something they can just sit down and enjoy and watch.
And it's a great timeless comedy. It's a lot of
Exactly,
fun. This will live for many, many years for
Right,
people
right.
to enjoy. And there's several episodes being written and put together. And I'm the guy on the side of the production that'll come in and make your life's work come to life.
Exactly.
And put it on film. And we'll be doing that for you. But you really have created and putting it all together. And very excited. Brian, thank you for being on my program.
Absolutely.
And
My
everybody,
pleasure.
thank you for joining me right here on Business Leaders Live every Tuesday morning. You can join us right here as we talk to different business leaders here in the Valley and abroad. And I'd like to thank my guests, Brian, David, and Gustavo.